The US President Donald Trump has said that Washington's plans to end the war in Gaza are in their final stages. We'll see if that hope is justified when the president hosts Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House later on today. Well, Gabrielle Weiniger is the Times Israel Correspondent and joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning, Kate.
Is there any real evidence that a deal is close?
Well, we've heard this before, haven't we, this kind of optimism from Donald Trump. But there are, I think, a few factors that change the game this time. This is Netanyahu's fourth visit to Washington since Trump took office. If you just compare, let's say, the third visit and this one, the last one, he was riding quite high from the success or the perceived success of the 12-day war with Iran. And Trump likes a winner. So he kind of had given Netanyahu his full support for resuming the war, for the operation on Gaza City, and all of that in the face of increasing international isolation as the rest of the world was getting quite angry and more angry with Israel for continuing the war and the deepening humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Trump stood firm and stood behind Netanyahu. But things have changed now because we saw that attempted assassination of Hamas leaders in Doha, and then Israel saying that Trump had greenlit that operation. That really embarrassed Trump, and Trump doesn't like a failure. He doesn't like a botched operation. That went wrong. That put Netanyahu back on the back foot. That also angered the Qatari mediators who have been trying for 2 years to get a permanent ceasefire deal. So they're also fed up. We've heard Netanyahu say that he's going to respond to the efforts by the UN, by the UK and France and other countries to recognise a Palestinian state by annexing the West Bank. Trump put his foot down very firmly on that as well. And then, of course, there's this big new plan, the 21-point plan to end the war that might include the ex-Prime Minister Tony Blair leading transitional government in Gaza. So all of these factors have actually changed on the ground, and it might be enough to see Trump put pressure on Netanyahu, because he is the only one that can do that, to end the war. It's up to Bibi whether or not he's going to isolate the US, his only ally really left, and potentially reunite what is a very divided country at this point. You know, you have people taking to the streets, tens of thousands of people, angry with the continuing war, the failure to return the hostages. It might pull Israel back from isolation, this increasing isolation they're facing, not only diplomatically, as we mentioned, but also economically and socially, in the sports field. Will Netanyahu risk elections? It's definitely on his mind.
It's such an interesting point about that tension there between his relationship with the US and his own sort of internal political position. Just finally, I mean, you mentioned Tony Blair. Anybody who is listening will no doubt, if they've sort of read those reports, be wondering whether that is realistic. In your view, is it?
Well, it seems to have the White House backing, and that is the key here when it comes to Israel. Is it supported by Trump? Is it going to be put forward by Trump? And we understand that Israel doesn't think it's a bad idea. That's what I've heard from Israeli government sources off the record. I think the understanding of the Palestinian Authority might take over after Tony Blair is a bit of a spanner in the works. But even Netanyahu has shifted his position slightly on that and become a bit more open to that idea. And the fact is, such a move by Tony Blair and the effort to put a transitional government in Gaza and allow the Palestinian Authority to eventually rule. Of course, that might take more than the stated 5 years. As we know, mandates from history, mandates can kind of drag on much longer than their stated intention. But if that unites the Palestinian Authority leading over the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, that potentially can lead to the reignition of the long-dead two-state solution, which is, of course, the internationally accepted formula for solving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So there is some hope there.
Gabrielle, thank you very much for your time. Great to hear from you. That's Gabrielle Weiniger there, the Times Israel Correspondent.
Well, thank you very much. We've had some very, really good talks today on Gaza with both the Middle East representatives and kings and all of the top leaders in the Middle East. And we had also a very good conversation with Bibi Netanyahu, trying to get the hostages back, and we're trying to get the end of the Gaza situation. It's really bad, very bad. And we think it could happen. Maybe it could happen pretty soon. We want the hostages back. We want the bodies back. and we want to have peace in that region. So we had some very good talks.
Our fellow citizens, we're very excited about it.
We have great relationships with a lot of countries, and you may be even more happy when you find out, because we spoke with Bibi Netanyahu today, and we spoke to all the leaders in the Middle East, who are great people, and we're getting pretty close to having a deal on Gaza, and maybe even peace, which would be the first time in about, 2,000 years, I think? In the region, I'd say the first in, Steve, what would you say, first in 2,000 years, or maybe 1,000?
2 millennium.
It's a long time. Yeah, great numbers and the stock market goes down. Because when you announce great numbers, I will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank. No, I will not allow it. It's not going to happen.
Did you speak with Netanyahu about this directly?
Yeah, but I'm not going to allow it. Whether I spoke to him or not, I did. But I'm not allowing Israel to annex the West Bank. There's been enough. It's time to stop now, okay?
Or not, we just want it to be fair. We want it to be fair to everybody.
والله ثلاثة نزلنا. وين الدار؟ وين الدار؟ الدار وين؟
ايش هذا ابو الحسن؟
هذا ماسك. تعال هيك يا عم، بلاش ينزل على السيارة يتعجى عليك. تعال. هذا ماسك يا ابو. سلمى خش جوا. جوا ضل عمك، ضل عمك. انتوا على الشارع ولا جوا؟